everyone. My name is Jacob Weirson, and I'll be starting the video presentation in one moment. Let's get here. All right, talking about ITM Block 1. And essentially what we're going to be going over is we're going to be talking about things like the Internet of Things, cloud computing. We're going to talk about computer hardware, and we're going to close with open source software. So starting with the Internet of Things, what exactly does this mean? Well, the Internet of Things is essentially connecting every single object to the Internet. For example, it would be a moving car that alerts you when you're about to hit another driver, or it's a chip in a dog that alerts the owner when that dog is missing and that exact location. All you'd have to do is check online, and you would see the dog's exact location. Good example of this also would be a heart monitor that tells you your heartbeat and your pulse and sends the results to an online database where you can check online on your smartphone or tablet or whatnot. And it would be, but the Internet of Things is so vast that it literally includes every single object that you can possibly think of. How is this helping us? This picture, kind of a good diagram of everything is connected into this just one big community. So security would be placed into this one community, safety, efficiency, everything would just essentially be connected and online. And that is the goal of many IT professionals, actually. Sort of the danger of this would be what happens when the internet actually goes down, like when there's no internet connection. That is definitely an obstacle that IT professionals will have to deal with in the future. Definitely many kids in our generation would have to deal with. Because if everything is connected to the internet, what does happen when connection is lost? And that can be definitely an issue in regards to security, in regards to safety, and of course in regards to efficiency. Would that exactly be worth it? Talking about cloud computing, you've heard about the cloud, using the cloud online with Apple products. I've heard the cloud, I don't know exactly what it is, but what is essentially cloud computing? Well, great way to kind of describe it would be it's like an online storage facility, wherein instead of saving things on your hard drive on a computer, when you save documents and when you save presentations or videos and pictures and whatnot onto your computer, you're actually saving these things online. Great example is Google Drive, where you're saving what I just described, except on this online forum, where you check documents, you update documents online, and you save it online. Another great example would be purchasing and buying music online, where you purchase it and listen to it, and you save it all in this online community. Another thing would be Chromebooks, where you do not you are essentially using one web browser, which is Google Chrome, and you're saving everything online. Those would be good examples of what that essentially means. And how is this helpful to us? Well, it saves money, it saves infrastructure, and it saves hiring personnel. And what I mean by that is you don't have to hire people to learn how to license software because you're not downloading anything. Everything's already there online. So you wouldn't need things like Microsoft Office or other, wouldn't need it because you'd be using it online, and everyone knows how to use the internet, and it's pretty much accessible to essentially everywhere we go. So it's definitely a lot easier and definitely a lot cheaper online. Talking about computer hardware, which is probably the most basic of what we've discussed so far, because plain and simple, it's the inside and outside of a computer. Outside of a computer, you got the screen, monitor, speaker, microphone, mouse, keyboard, and the system unit. Anything you can touch on the outside, and anything you can touch on the inside. You have a motherboard, you have wires, you have microprocessors, you have computer chips that display the graphics and stuff like that. So it's essentially the makeup of a computer is what hardware is. Of course, hardware is necessary. That's a pretty logical question. You need it, or else the computers would not exist. So hardware matters for those old computers that you see in these two pictures, or the newest ones, like on my MacBook Pro that I'm using right now to do this presentation. Hardware is necessary. You need it for a computer to exist in its most simple form. So plain and simple, definitely hardware is a must, because you wouldn't have a computer without it. Finally, we'll talk about open source software, which is essentially software that anyone can use to update, manipulate, transform, or kind of make better. A great example of this would be LibreOffice, which is a form of Microsoft Office. It's software similar to that, and it's an open source software, which means that anyone can use a source code from that software, and I do mean anyone. Anyone can use it to update or change or improve. Now, you do not have to be a computer programmer or major in computer science to do this. All you have to do is know a little bit about computers. Obviously, you would need to know a little bit about computers to do this, because you'd have to know how to manipulate a source code in the first place, what exactly is a source code, and how to make a software better. In contrast to open source software would be Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Reader, where when you download the software, you actually have to sign an agreement that would say you cannot alter, and you will not alter the software in any way. That is closed source software. But open source would be the exact opposite, where you don't have to sign you do have to sign an agreement, but it's much different and much more open than closed source software. Open source software, again, anyone can change it, anyone can kind of make it better. And so open source software pretty much gives the explanation in the name. And just in conclusion, talking about this whole idea of the Internet of Things, cloud computing, and hardware and open source software, there's always predictions and concerns. The biggest one for me would be internet access, and it is, again, prevalent. A lot of people can use the internet today, but it's still limited. How safe, how secure, how efficient would this really be? Especially if you do not have complete access to the internet, or connection is actually lost. But sort of the underlying theme of Block 1 would be this, excuse me, this new age of the internet that is uniting everything together, whether it is a small object or it is a person. On the cloud, open source software, you're actually kind of projected into this online community where you can actually become a quote-unquote programmer, where you're transforming software and you're saving things online, or with objects where everything and everything, anything and everything is being connected to the internet. So it's just this underlying theme of absolute connection. Everything's being connected, and everyone is essentially made into this online world and global community. And that's essentially what I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for listening. Take care, and thanks a lot.